Hey guys, this is Accounting Nightmare, and this is Stormstout Brewery. So right off the bat, there's some very important things you need to do. You have to kill these tricksters, these sort of elementals that are on the roof, so your ranged DPS has to do that. They're very low health, but they have to die really quick, because the water ones will heal the monkeys, and the fire ones will buff them, and they will do shit tons of damage to your tank. So they need to die real quick. Then our tank slows the monkeys, and we all run up here, and the ranged DPS comes up to the top of the stairs and shoots the explosive barrels as the mobs are running past them, and that does a lot of damage and just helps to kill them quicker. Yeah, meanwhile we come up here. We ran past two brawlers. They're two elite mobs that are fighting each other, and how much health they have when you reach them is really random. Sometimes they're really low and you can just tag them and kill them quick. Other times they will be really high, like they were here. So we just ignore them for now, and while we're doing this, they're still brawling each other, so they're still getting their health down, and we pull them later on. So yeah, meanwhile our tank pulls shit tons of stuff and tries to kite it around in a circle. How much to pull, it just takes practice to learn how much you're going to need and how much is too much. Meanwhile your DPS jumps on the barrels and rams them into the monkeys. It does tons of damage, it's very much worth using the barrels. The stray barrels will also hurt you if they run into you, like if no one's on them. Be really careful of that, so you almost get hit by a barrel there. Does a lot of damage and knocks you back. Don't let that happen. Yeah, so tank just needs to keep going around in a circle while you slowly whittle down all these mobs. Aggro is a big problem here because you'll find sometimes a stray barrel will hit some yellow mobs and it will cause them to aggro onto your group even though no one's touched them, and they'll come straight for your healer. So I try and fear them in place while calling out for help to our tank. That room looks like a complete prick to tank, so I have nothing but respect for tanks for doing this place. But yeah, at some point we pulled up those two brawlers and killed them. Yeah, onto the boss, Ook Ook. He will ook you in the duker. He's pretty fun, he's all about hitting him with barrels. The tank damage isn't that high, so as the healer you should definitely join in with the barrels. And make sure you don't get hit by barrels either. And when you jump on a barrel, it is possible to run it into another barrel and break it, and you'll take damage, so try to avoid that. And I had some DCing issues here. Sometimes when I hit the boss with a barrel, I'll DC, that was pretty rare. But sometimes if I was on a barrel when the fight ended, that would DC me. It's supposed to just dismount you from the barrel, but sometimes I DC instead, so I stayed away from the barrels once the boss was low on health. And don't try and run too quick or that monkey will knock you back and stun you, it's pretty annoying. Alright, now for the little gauntlets leading up to the second boss. You have to stay together here. That's because there's these mobs called hoppers. Once you get near them, they will start hopping up and down, casting an explosion move because they're carrying bombs. And then they'll explode, and if you're still near them, you'll get stunned and take damage, and just getting stunned will cause you to fall behind, and then you'll probably get even more explosions. So that's pretty bad. Try and stay together as much as possible, and run all the way to the edge of this platform, because there's hoppers on this platform as well. Yeah, so there's three kinds of mobs here. There's hopplings, which are the really small ones, hoppers, which are the bombs, and boppers. They're the ones with hammers. Boppers, you want to burn them down singly, and once they're dead they'll drop a hammer which you can click on, and then you can hit your extra action button and swing the hammer and do tons of damage to all these bunnies. So that's the key here. There's tons of mobs here, but you don't want to AoE. You need to burn down the hoppers, grab their hammers and use those to kill them, all the little bunnies. All the vermin actually, they're not bunnies, they're not cute at all. Once you kill enough, the boss comes out. Yeah, so if the boss takes a while to come out, it means you're just taking too long to kill the mobs. Make sure you're bursting down a bopper. Make sure you have someone marking them up. Yeah, so the boss, he does this whirlwind. He'll aggro a random person. I think your tank can taunt them though, and can taunt him to make him chase a tank instead. Very soon after the whirlwind, he'll do carrot breath, and he'll start calling in tons of ads. You have to keep dodging the carrot breath, keep moving around, and this is where you need to use a shit ton of hammers to kill all these bunnies, because the combined damage on your tank will absolutely destroy him. And there are hoppers here as well, which will jump down and blow up your crew. But if you hit a hopper with a hammer, it'll blow up in the air instead. You don't need to wait for it to start exploding, just hit him with a hammer and he's taken care of. Yeah, and then you get a wave of boppers right at the end. As you can see, we've got a ton of boppers here. So we try and cleave him down and grab some hammers, because the fight just loops at this point. He does the whirlwind and then he does the carrot breath, calls in tons of adds, and you need to use your hammers again. The carrot breath, you can't really tell where it's going to go, because he points in one direction as he's getting ready to do it. Then suddenly he spins and picks a random direction, and I think it's bugged. It doesn't seem like that's working the way it should. And a hopper gets us right there. Ouch. Yeah, you see just how much damage that does. That's kind of crazy. But thankfully he's dead, and we can move on to the last section of the instance. This is the longest section, but there's less that can go wrong here than in the first two sections. So this guy, he'll put bloat on a random person, and that'll cause beer to come streaming out of your ears, and that'll hurt anyone to your sides. So make sure you're all standing in spots where you won't hurt anyone near you. Apart from that, he doesn't do much damage. He does a brew bolt at a random person. Interrupt that as much as you can, but it's pretty easy to heal through though. So this room, we invis pot through it. There's a group of adds here. If you didn't kill the brawlers before, you'll probably have to kill these adds to make up the numbers, because all the little bunnies earlier in the instance, they didn't count at all. You don't need to use invis pots there. You can wait for the patrol to move to the far corner and then run past. If you're going to do that, make sure you don't touch the little puddles of beer, because apparently that aggroes them. But we use invis pots because that way we don't have to wait at all to see where they are. We just pop our potions and run through, and everything's good. Alright, so if we pull these two into this room and start up the boss event, which ends up with 4 mobs. If you're going to do it like this, make sure you're interrupting, because all of these mobs do brew bolt, which is a bolt at a random target, and it does hurt a lot, and if they all pick the same target, that person's probably dead. So make sure people are interrupting as much as possible. Apart from that, the sudsy elementals, they'll leave a pile of suds on the ground. You'll see them, it's got a cast bar, so there's plenty of warning. But these suds, they do so much damage to your tank and melee. Like, by the time you realise you're standing in it, you're already dead. So once you see him casting it, just be ready to move your ass off or just back off. Be really careful. Yeah, and then once these guys are dead, then it's the wave of small ones which will heal each other. For this, we run around the corner out of line of sight, and I go shadow, because they do very little damage. And we need lots of AoE burst to kill them. I'll try and get some mana quickly before they arrive. Or I'm not going to do anything, am I? Since mana goes to 0 once you switch specs. So they come around the corner. I start AoEing too quick, I get a bit excited. But, you know, lucky I have Fade and Desperate Prayer. Yeah. My AoE is not that great, it's just Divine Style and Cooldown and Mindseer. And Mindseer is honestly really weak. Not that great, so... But I help out a bit. Once they get low, I can start trying to burst them down with Shadow Word Death. You want to rotate stuns on them, otherwise they'll just heal each other up to full. And you can't like stand in the beams because there's so many of them. So rotate stuns and hopefully you can burst them down before they start doing a lot of healing. Then once there's only a few, you can stand in the middle and try and intercept their beams. And then it's on to the third wave, which is another bunch of big adds. And I'll go back to Holy for this because we're going to need healing on the tank. And you know, don't be afraid to pop any cooldowns you have left here because, well, I'm not going to need them for the last phase because I'm going to be Shadow. Yeah, so it's a group of 4. Again, look out for suds and make sure you interrupt them. Oh, their brew bolt can easily give people. I stopped bothering buffing with Prayer of Fortitude here because it drops off every time I switch specs. A bit annoying, but that will. And I have to remember not to use Mindbender here. If you're doing this strategy and you're a healing priest, don't use Mindbender, or Shadow Fiend will be off. It will be on cooldown when you go Shadow. And Shadow Fiend's the only DPS cooldown you got is Shadow, so you kind of need it. And once they're dead, I go Shadow for the last boss in the instance. This guy does very little damage, but it's all about killing him before you get too many adds. Yeah, on Heroic, this boss has a lot of he's got a random moveset from a big pool of abilities, but it's always the same on challenge modes. So they do try and remove as much RNG as possible. It's just there's a lot of little niggles they need to work out. Yeah, so once the ads start spawning, you need to stand in the beam, or the boss will get healed. We have our tank take one, I take the second, and then our other DPS just sort of fills in the gaps. And I can use Void Shift, thankfully, as a Shadow Priest, so Shadow Priests are really good off healers. They're nerfing the crap out of the next patch, and I can definitely see why. They can do a surprising amount of healing for a hybrid. And there's bloat to worry about here too, so make sure you're not hurting anyone with that. Yeah, so this guy's just all about just bursting him down as quick as possible. If you didn't use invis pots, you can use DPS pots here, thankfully. And these suds, sometimes you will have to take a stun like that. I find it funny that I jumped and got stunned in the air. That's latency for you. But the other way would have stunned me anyway. Yeah, it's just pop hero and burn him down as hard and fast as you can before he gets too many adds. See here, we're right on the edge of probably not killing him. He had a new wave of ad spawn there. But we finished him off, so yeah, don't kill the ads, they got too much health. Don't do any AoE there, just burst the boss down as quickly as you can. And I kind of enjoy this place. I liked switching between Shadow and Holy. It was fun to actually do something with my Shadow spec rather than just do dailies. Anyway, that's Stormstout Brewery, and I'll see you next time.
I have made a name for myself at last.